creative circle, it was very helpful for me. But one final advice I'll give is give yourself ample time to prepare. Don't, you know, try as much as possible to do away with anxiety.
Anand just cleared PMP like 10 minutes ago. Ali have cleared PMP with above target. Congratulations, Raheel, on clearing your PMP in first attempt. You cleared PMP exam with 5 above target. The best thing that anyone can do. 5 above target. Ladies and gentlemen, second student in 3 days, 5 above target.
I didn't expect it that I will get this result. I thought that I will be like target or like above target.
Thanks to you. Without your dedication and guidance, it was impossible for me.
Yeah, yeah. It is clear to you. Above target, above target, above target, above target. Do I have to read film book? Do I have said no, no? Like whenever he heard like this guy have read 5 times film book so many times, he always get confused and come back to me. I kept on saying him, you are going to clear, just read one time. And that's what he did.
How are you? First of all, congratulations on clearing PMP exam. Now, that's a fascinating thing you did.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
I really love the way you cleared a PMP exam. Okay, so Greg
Yes,
cleared
I'm
PMP
sending this.
exam. Yeah, so let's hear from him. What is his journey? So, why don't you share your PMP Greg journey with us?
Okay, basically, my journey has been quite a long one. I wrote the exam sometime last year, but it wasn't favorable, so I decided to give it a second try.
Okay.
I used approximately 2 months to prepare for the exam because it was changing. I focused more on Agile and the PMBOK 6th edition for my preparation, basically.
Okay.
I watched some of your videos, and most especially the one that discussed 6th edition and the Agile itself. There's this video you have on YouTube about all you need to watch for the exam.
Okay.
So it broke down the 6th edition succinctly for me, and it was very, very helpful. However, for the Agile, I used only one material to focus for my Agile, which was Head First.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book. Yeah.
So I used Head First. And, this was what I used for the PMP, for the
Andy Crow. Yeah, the Andy Crow.
So that was basically my journey. I didn't do any training before then. It was just basically self-study for me. No prior training before then. Mine was just basically self-study. So that's how it went.
Okay, okay. So which mocks you did for before the exam?
To be very honest, the only things I practiced before the exam, I registered for a mock on Udemy.
My mocks, the one I gave you the link.
You gave me a link for your own mock.
Yeah.
Yes, I worked with some of your. I know you had about 45 videos or 40 videos. At least I was able to work with about 10, 15 of them. I practiced a mock, just one simulation exam for 180 questions.
Which mock you did? Which mock you did?
On Udemy, I can quickly check the name.
Okay, you can message me later, no issue. Okay,
I'll message that to you.
But so, you did the mock, you did my mock, right?
I did your mock, yes, about 10, 20, 10, 15 of them.
Okay.
The short sessions, the short question and answer sessions, 10, 15 of them. Then I also did the Udemy. Then I practiced the 400 questions in Andy Crow and the 120 questions on Head First.
Yeah, I would think 180 question because the chapter also have the questions, no? The Head First, yeah, chapters also have the questions.
Yes, chapters also have the questions. I answered all the questions on the chapters, but there's the final 120 questions at the end, which I also answered. So that was all I used, and a couple of your YouTube videos.
Okay.
So basically, that was my journey
Okay.
for
So
it.
Greg, let's talk about the exam. Since you have gone
Okay.
through PMI ACP book and you can now easily do also Agile. In my opinion, read this book,
Yes.
my
Yes.
Griff PMI ACP book, and the book you have, that is more than
Okay.
enough to clear the PMI ACP exam. Okay. So how
Okay.
much exam was Agile and how much predictive?
Okay. For my own exam, I would like to rank them first of all. I think Agile was 60%, hybrid was 20%, Agile was 60%. I had a lot of questions on hybrid. I also had about 20% questions on traditional predictive waterfall.
Okay.
For the Agile, I noticed I had a lot of questions on Scrum and Scrum practices. There were little questions on Kanban.
Okay. Okay.
It talked about task board and value stream mapping on how to reduce waste, the questions I can remember. But on Scrum, there were questions on burn down charts and the general Scrum practices, the PMI policies on how to work and how to relate to people.
Okay. Okay.
For the PM, for the traditional, a lot of questions on. I had a lot of questions on resource management, Tuxman ladder,
Okay.
the forms of power.
Okay.
There were a lot of questions on communication and procurement. Procurement was, I noticed the question on fixed price contracts, time and material.
Okay.
Agile methodology favors time and material type of contract, basically.
Okay.
So risk response is a lot of questions for the positive and negative risks. Um, and value management, the interpretation of the cost performance indexes and the schedule performance indexes. Um, then little questions on quality.
Okay,
Little
little
questions
questions
on
on
quality.
quality. Okay.
Yes.
So, any mathematical question?
No mathematical questions for me. Not one mathematical question. They just gave the values. They just gave the values for CPI, SPI, and said, okay, you're transitioning as a predictive to an agile methodology. This is the CPI, this is the SPI.
Okay.
And this is the scenario. What is your advice as a project manager?
Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah,
all those things were important for the exam, and all those things you basically those helped to clear your
yeah,
exam. Okay.
yeah.
So, now you how many drags and drop questions in the exam?
Okay, most of my drags and drop questions were on resource management. Basically, yeah, resource management. I had about 6 of them on resource management. They focused more on the risk response planning, transfer of risk, mitigation, acceptance, and avoidance. Uh, I also had I also had some drag and drop on forms of power.
Okay.
Yes,
Forms of
about
power.
2 of them. Then there's the burn down chart. I had the burn down chart where I had to click a particular part of the chart to, indicate the velocity increase in the work activities over there.
Okay. Okay.
I had one question where I had to type in the option, but basically I had more on drag and drop compared to other ones.
Okay. So, okay. That's a different thing. So, how drags and drop basically helped you?
Drags and drops, basically, what our advice is, or what I think with drag and drop is that they consume time.
Okay.
So drag and drop, you have to try and as much as possible to decipher what the question is asking. Because if you miss a drop, you failed the question. So drag and drop helped me mainly. I wasn't, to be honest, out of 6 drag and drops I saw, I wasn't really confident in some of them. The ones I was more confident in were the ones from risk responses. So I was quite confident in those ones. But it's a very, very
Yeah,
tricky
yeah,
field.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Like it goes. Okay. Well, Greg, now I really love the way you have told us and showed your book from where you have studied. Okay. In your opinion,
Just these two books.
yeah, yeah. In your opinion, this Andy Crow and First Start Agile book, is it enough for preparation?
In my opinion, I will not. I would say for me, people differ, but for me, it was enough for preparation. If you ask me why, is because I had actually read Rita cover to cover about 2 times, but I think Andy Crow breaks it down
I
easier.
also like even in the 2020th, I actually like Andy Crow much.
Yeah,
Even when I did PMP back into 14, 15, at that time I did read Rita.
yeah,
I actually read all the books in the market at that time. So I really loved the way Andy Crow did and how the first had this. So they are good books. They are really good books.
very good. So yes, I would say yes, they are enough. Andy Crow and Headfirst are enough to prepare for the exam.
Okay.
But I know the exam is changing, so I understand there's going to be a seventh edition coming out soon. I don't know how soon, but these two books were the materials I used for my exam. I read both of them twice, cover to cover, and answered the questions behind. So
Okay.
it's basically to get the understanding of the explanation of everything, what the question is talking about. And I also want to say that the exam is intensive. I could feel every minute of the 4 hours.
So
And what I would advise to people who are planning to write is ensure you read, when you read the questions, ensure I used your elimination technique for a lot of my questions. It was very helpful. I
and
could eliminate 4 options, I could eliminate two,
okay.
then look at the remaining two and know it was
Yeah.
wonderful. It helped me all through. But there are some options that are very long. Sometimes it's good to read till the end of that option.
Okay.
Read all through to the end of that option.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the exam time management was key
So were you
for
able
me.
to do all the questions in time?
I stopped at I was able to do up to 173 within the time, but with 3 minutes, I had to rush through the remaining 6 questions.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yes,
Greg.
but I saw it to 180 questions.
Okay, so Greg, you have seen my coaching calls and my webisode, I always ask one final advice. If you can give
Okay.
all the PMP aspirant, what will be your one final advice?
All PLP aspirants, one final advice I would give is work with Amer Ali's coaching course. It helped me. I watched one particular video where you broke down the predictive circle. It was very helpful for me. But one final advice I'll give is give yourself ample time to prepare. Don't, you know, try as much as possible to do away with anxiety. Give yourself ample time to prepare. At least try, give yourself 2 months thereabout, read your books cover to cover, and time management during the exam is key. I also used your technique of taking deep breaths before I could start a fresh question.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. Your journey has
Thank
been
you so
very inspiring, and it's always different to know the journey. I really love the way you explained it. Thank you very much for giving your precious
Thank you
time.
so much.
And I wish you best
Thank
of
you.
luck for whatever the reason you took this PMP. Thank you very much, Greg.
Thank you so much. Thank you.